Hey everyone, today we got something really cool to talk about. If you ever followed my disco diffusion tutorial, you might have noticed some similarities between the two, but Warpfusion will definitely give you way better results, especially since it allows you to use ControlNet. If you're not familiar with ControlNet, no worries, I got a video explaining how it works. Just click on the link above to check it out. We're gonna go over how to use this with Colab Pro, which is a paid subscription. And after, I will go over how to install this on your local desktop for those who have the right GPU specs. Both require you to work inside of a Colab notebook, which I will go over in a bit. Warpfusion requires a lot of resources, so if you don't have a good GPU, your only option may be to pay for Colab Pro, which is what a lot of people prefer. Colab Pro is kind of like a remote GPU that you're pretty much renting. There's Colab Pro, which is $10 with 100 compute units per month, and Colab Pro Plus, which is 500 compute units per month, and allows for background execution, which means you pretty much can shut down your computer and it will still be doing its thing. Just to give you an idea of how much computing units I spend, here it says I have 81 compute units left and I use approximately 13 per hour. There is a free version of Colab, but it's unreliable and I wouldn't recommend it. To install this locally, Alex, the developer, suggests a 16 gigabyte VRAM with an NVIDIA GPU. But personally, I've had success handling low resolution videos using my 10 gigabyte RTX 3080 with 3-stack ControlNet units. I don't mind going low res because I can always upscale it after, and I'm going to be showing you how to do that later in this video. There's a few things you will need to get started. First off, we need a notebook, which we get from Alex's Patreon. He has different tiers. The highest tier allows for early access to newer notebooks with new parameters and features, but those notebooks do eventually become accessible to the lower tier supporters. Once you have a notebook, you can use it as much as you want, but if you want to keep getting the latest version, then you can get those while being a patron. Another thing we need is a model. You can go to civitai.com to get a model there. Just download one that says Checkpoint and save it somewhere on your Google Drive. Also, you will need quite a bit of space on your Google Drive. Currently, my Warpfusion folder takes about 2.4 gigabytes of space, but this does not include the folders where I store my models and ControlNet models. So just be aware that you may need to manage your free Google Drive space or pay for more space. You also will need a video file, so you may need an editing software if you want to resize it or if you want to make any trims to the video. I would suggest DaVinci Resolve since it's free, but if you have Premiere, then I would recommend Premiere as well. Lastly, you will need a text file with the settings I put together, and I got a lot of help with this from willis.visual on Instagram. Go check out his account. He has some very cool Warpfusion videos on there. Also, a huge shout out to Mr. Boofy and Sirach on Discord. They helped me figure out a bunch of technical issues I was running into. All right, so you've been warned. Let's jump right into it and explore the crazy world of Warpfusion. So here I'm on Google Colab and it's asking me to upload a notebook. So I'm going to be using this notebook right here, which is 0.12.15. So this should be accessible to those who paid $10. If you want the newer version, obviously you can pay more. So I download this notebook and then I drag this notebook onto here. All right, so it's gonna open this notebook and then we can click on this top right where it says connect. So once it's connected, it's gonna say connected here. You're gonna see like a little green check mark. So I'm gonna click on this little folder so I can see what's going on here. And then we want to bring in some files. So we're gonna put in our video file and our settings file. And I will put a link to my settings file in the description. So I'm gonna put that in there. It's gonna give me a warning, just press OK. While that's uploading, I'm gonna come down here. I can actually just close this right here. And then you're gonna see this number 1 where it says setup. I can actually even close these code. I don't need to see the code there. So right here in setup, I'm gonna click on the first one that says prepare folders. So click it there. It's gonna ask to connect to your Google Drive. You wanna connect to it. So you click on there. It's gonna ask you which account. You click on the account that you want and then allow. Okay, while that's loading, I'm gonna come down here and here we're gonna name the folder where it's gonna keep all of our generated frames and also our settings and a bunch of other stuff there. Just gonna name it Mirror YouTube. So every time you generate this, it's gonna create a folder with this name, but if you change the name, it's gonna create a brand new folder with the new name and the new generated frames. So just be aware of that. Here and width and height is going to be the width and height of your video. This is good for like vertical videos. Like if you're doing Instagram Reels or Stories or TikTok, then you can keep these settings if you want. or you can switch them if you want to make it widescreen. Again, I'm going to keep these low because I'm going to upscale it later. And in this case, I'm going to do a 1x1. So I'm just going to keep it 720 by 720. So I'm going to keep coming down right here to where it says video input settings. Here we're going to put our video. So we just uploaded it right here. So we're going to right click and then copy path. And then we're going to paste it there by pressing Control V. So here where it says extract nth frame, if you put 1, it's going to generate every single frame of your videos. So if your video has 100 frames, it's going to generate 100 frames. But if you put 2, it's going to generate every other frame. So it's not going to do 100, it's going to do 50. And also it will make the process a lot faster. So a lot of people put 2 because they just want this to be done fast. If you put 1, it might be a little bit more flickery because a lot more changes are happening for each frame. But if you put 2, it might look a little bit more smoother. So it's whatever you prefer. All right, so we just keep coming down here. So here we have forced download. Forced download could be beneficial if you decide to make a change. For example, if you want to change your extract nth frame to 1, let's say you ran this already with 2 and then suddenly you say, I don't want to do 2, I want to do 1, then you have to make sure that you have this one checked. Also, if you've been running a video file and then suddenly you want to change the video to something else, then you have to make sure that you have this checked as well. So we're going to leave that one checked for now. Here we're going to put our model. So you should already have a model on your Google Drive, like I said earlier. And then you should have access to your drive right here. If it's not there, then you can click refresh to make it appear. Then you drop down, go to wherever you have your model saved. I'm gonna choose this one right here and I'm gonna copy path and I'm gonna paste it right here. Here for ControlNet models, you can press force download so that it can download the models for you and it's going to store it in a folder. So I'm going to uncheck tiled. I haven't really experimented with it here. I've used it in Stable Diffusion. Maybe some other time I can make a video about it, but for now, I just want to do the very basic stuff just to get you guys started. So once we're done with that, all we have to do is come here to where it says GUI and we have to put our settings in here. So we already uploaded our text file right here. I'm going to copy path, paste it right here. So once we put our settings here, we're going to go here to the top where it says runtime, click on that, and then we're going to click on run all. And it's going to start to run all these cells. This may take a while, so just be patient. Once everything's been executed and you get all these green check marks next to these play buttons, you can come down here to where your GUI's at, and all of a sudden this appears, which is like this user interface where you have your prompts, your negative prompts. You have everything in just like one location, just easier to follow and just see where you want to make changes. So you also have these tabs with different settings right here. So you have ControlNet. You can make adjustments to ControlNet. You can change the active range, the weight. Again, I mentioned earlier that I did a video about ControlNet, so you can check that out. And then right here, if you come down here, you're going to see the preview of what's being generated. And every time it generates an image, it's going to save it. If you go to your Google Drive, you should have a folder that says AI and then another folder inside of that named Stable Warpfusion. You click on that, you're gonna have a bunch of these folders here. If you come here to images out, and we go to the folder that we named Mirror YouTube, then you're going to see the preview of everything we are doing right now. If you come to the settings folder, you're going to have the settings of what's being generated right now. So you can use this again in the future if you want. Now, let's say you're looking at this image and you're like, man, I don't like the way this looks. This looks like trash. I want to change something. So you can stop this and then it's going to turn red. Then you come here to the settings right here and you can make the changes from here. You can change the prompt if you want. Like, for example, I want this to be, instead of a futuristic robot, I want it to be a Disney princess. And not only that, I want to have depth, I want to have canny, and I want to have soft edge. I don't want any of these other ones here. And then I just put 1 here, or I don't normally put 1. I normally put like 0.5 because I don't want it to be super strong. And now that I made these changes, in order to apply these changes, when I have it generate again, I have to make sure that I take off the settings that I previously had. Then I press this button right here under where it says GUI. So I'm going to press it. It's going to load it. And so we should see the changes here. Yeah, Disney Princess and the ControlNet units that we had activated. Now that I applied these changes, now I can come down here and then run it again. So now we're getting something a little different. We're getting more of that Disney Princess kind of look. So as those are loading, then we're going to see the new generated images here. If you notice that it's going to be in the same folder because we have the same name, but you will notice that there is differences in the number right here. So here you have mirror YT0, and then here you have mirror YT1. So every time you generate something new, it's going to add a number to it. The only time it will not save it into this folder is if you change the batch name to something else. Then it's going to create a new folder where it's going to store the new settings. And yeah, so you just let it run till it's done. Once your video is done generating, you can create the video here if you like. You just press this little play button where it says create video. Once it's done, you can come to your Google Drive and come to your stable Warpfusion folder, and then come here to images out. Go to the folder you just generated. In this case, this one, you're going to have all your images, but then you have a folder here that says video. You come into video, and then you have your video here, and you can download it from here. Otherwise, you would have to get all these images and put it into an editing software so that it can make it into image sequence. So now I'm going to go over how to install this to your local computer. And here we have some instructions. I'll put a link in the description with these instructions. It's pretty straightforward. You're going to be downloading and installing Git, and you can download it here and install it. And you'll also need Miniconda, and you can download this here as well. Once you've downloaded these, you want to create some folders. So here it suggests that you create a code folder, then a Warpfusion folder, and then the version that you're using. So in this case, I created a code folder. I named it Warpfusion, and then in that one, I named it the version that I'm using. So here is where we're going to be saving these two files right here. So prepare_inv relative.bat. I'm going to download that. I'm going to be saving it into this folder. It's giving me a warning, but I'm just going to put keep and then keep anyways. And then I'm going to download this one as well, run relative.bat. I'm going to save it in the same folder, keep anyway. So we have these two files in this folder. So I'm going to run this prepare_inv relative.bat file first. It's going to open this window, and it's going to be downloading and extracting a bunch of stuff into this folder, and you just let it run until it's done. Once that's done, we're going to click on run relative.bat, and it's going to be loading a few things as well. It's going to automatically open this Jupyter window in your browser, at least it does for me. You're going to come back to this window, and then way at the bottom, it's going to give you a URL, and you're going to copy this one. So Control-C to copy. Then we're going to come to our Warpfusion notebook, but now instead of connecting like we did earlier through here, we're going to click on this little down arrow and then go to connect to local runtime. And then here we're going to Control-A to select all, and then Control-V to paste what we just copied, and then click on connect. And then you're going to be connected locally. This works almost exactly like I explained earlier. The only difference is that now everything is stored on your desktop instead of on your Google Drive. So then you come down here, keep all like a lot of the settings the same, keep the name. I'm going to keep this. The only difference is where you're linking all the files. So for example, the video, you're not going to be bringing the video in here like you did earlier. So what you're going to do is you're going to go to where you have your video. You're going to right click and then click on copy as path, and then you're going to put that there. But you can remove these quotation marks right here at the end and at the beginning. So now this is how you're going to link your files to the notebook. What else did we link? So we're going to link the model. I have a folder where I have my models. I'm going to right click, copy as path, put it in the model path, remove the quotation marks. So here it still needs to create a ControlNet folder for you here where you're going to save all your ControlNet models. For now, I'm going to leave this blank and I'm going to come back to it in a bit. So I come down here to GUI, and then I'm going to go to my settings. I'm going to copy the path for my settings right here and then paste them. And then I'm just going to run all like I did earlier as well. So now we're going to get a bunch of the folders like we did on our Google Drive. And now I'm just waiting for the ControlNet folder. All right, so once that's loaded, by the way, at some point it stopped loading, and so I had to restart it. So just let you know that could happen. While those are still running, I have this ControlNet folder that just appeared, and I'm gonna come here to where it says models, and then you already have the YAML files here. So all you gotta do is just copy this path right here, and then I'm going to put it right here where it says ControlNet models. So now you shouldn't run into any issues when it runs this. And also it will save your models in this folder. So once you get to this point, it's going to download some models for you in this folder that you put. So you can wait till these download, and then you can run all again, and it's going to be way faster than it was before. And then we're here at the end again. And then we see this user interface again. And then down here, it's going to be loading our video. It is downloading some stuff down here. So if you just let that download, and then it should run everything normally. Once it starts generating images, you should have all your setup like you did in your drive. And then you can go to your images out, You can go to your folder, whatever you saved, and you should have all your images here, your settings, a bunch of other stuff that it saves. So it's a little bit different because you're bringing stuff from your hard drive onto your Colab notebook and not from your Google Drive. So now we have our video here and we want to upscale it. So there is this software called Video X2 where you can upscale it for free. The one that you can download and have on your computer is only for Windows, unfortunately. And they do have a Colab version, but I was having a little bit of issues with that one. You can try it out if you want, if you're a Mac user. If not, you're gonna maybe have to purchase Topaz AI. This also allows you to upscale, like you bring in the video here, and then you come here to upscale 2 times, 4 times, and then you export it. Yeah, so, but you would have to pay for this one. So that's an option, but if not, you can use this one. So I just click on here where it says GUI page. I go here to GUI release from here and then come all the way down where it says Video X2 and then just download this. Once you download it and extract the folder, you can come here to Video X2 GUI and then double click on that. It's gonna open this window and it's gonna open this other window right here. And this is where you're gonna put your settings and also where you're gonna be dragging your video. So in this case, I'm gonna be dragging it here where it says file path. I'm gonna leave everything on default and then just gonna run it. It finished after like a minute or so. I did get some errors here. So it saved these 2 files in the same folder where my original video was at. I don't know why, but it doesn't play the MP4 file. It seems to be like corrupted or something. It might be this error that I'm getting here, but it does play the .mkv file. It looks a lot cleaner, and I'll actually show side by side of the difference because this one just looks a lot more pixelated. The only problem with MKV files, from my experience at least, it's not supported in many devices. So it is supported in DaVinci, but not in Premiere, for example. So if you do need to convert it, I typically use a VLC media player, which is free. And then I just come here to where it says media, convert, and then I just bring that file there and then convert, save it in the same folder, but I'll just name it something else, upscale, then start. And then now I have an MP4 file here. That's how I get around that. Unfortunately, I wish it was just more straightforward, but it works and it's free. So can't complain too much, right? All right, everyone. So that's how you set up Warpfusion. If there's anything specific that you want me to get into, like maybe talk about LoRa's and how it works with Warpfusion, I know that there's going to be newer versions coming out, so I can touch on those new features if you'd like me to. And I can already predict that a lot of you are going to have technical issues because it just takes a little parameter or just misspelling or something for this not to work. I would definitely recommend the Warpfusion Discord where you can get a bunch of technical help. The people there are very helpful and nice, so I can definitely recommend it to you. All right, everyone. Thank you so much for watching. Don't forget to like, subscribe, and all that good stuff. And like always, take care. God bless. Peace.